iseropen.ca. Welcome to This Week in the Peace, a show dedicated to the people, events, and news of BC's Peace region.
Good morning and welcome to This Week in the Peace. I'm Dub Craig.
And I'm Caitlin Coombs. Later, we'll hear from the creator of iseropen, a website that puts information on emergency rooms across the region in one place.
But first, the Fort St. John Hospital Foundation announced early December that their executive director, Kelly Ambo, was stepping down from the role after 4 years at the helm and a couple more working for the foundation. Earlier this month, the North Peace Community Foundation announced that Ambo was taking over as their executive director after the foundation's inaugural ED stepped down in September. To talk a bit about this transition, we're joined now by Kelly Ambo. Kelly, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Dub.
Thank you so much for making some time for us. I really appreciate it. Let's talk about the Community Foundation first, because it's still fairly new. I think it's only been around 4-ish years, if even that long at this point. What's it all about?
Okay, well, I'll start. It was established in 2021 with the principal founder was the city of Fort St. John. And what the Community Foundation is about is making the community as a whole a better place. So we receive large grants, bequests, and then we are able to grant them out to local charities and donors within the community.
Yeah, so you're almost like a distributor of charitable funds to nonprofits in our community. And it's not just Fort St. John, it's kind of, as it says, the North Peace, right? Yeah,
the North Peace region as well as the Northern Rockies.
This is a sizable move for you. You were at the foundation, the hospital foundation, for 4 years. What about this new role, this new challenge, did you see when Susan Adams stepped down and say, I think I could make a big contribution there and I'd like a shot at it? What kind of led you to that decision, would you say?
That it supports a vast variety from the community rather than having a single focus. It's all aspects that enhance our community.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not just buying equipment or whatnot for, as we've talked so extensively over the years, the hospital and Peace Villa. It's, can we help other, nonprofits who may then need to buy things or keep running or whatever? Because you sent me some notes kind of about the priorities. You can help a lot of different nonprofits, but in a lot of different ways is kind of what I'm getting from that, right?
Yeah, there's a huge scope of what our possibilities are.
Yeah,
and,
so it's like it can be operations, but it can also be we're just giving you money to then redistribute to the people that maybe you help and how they need it. Right?
Yeah, program supports, event nights, various things that create that community and build that sense of community that we all crave.
Why? I mean, you kind of touched on it already. You decided this was a new challenge because it kind of allowed you to sort of help a wider scope of nonprofits in the community. Why was that so important to you after kind of having really a single focus for the past 6 years? Because you did a couple of years kind of on the administrative side of the foundation before becoming the executive director. Why was it important to you to say, I still have more to give, but I can do it in a different way?
Part of it was just ready for a change, and community has always been important to me, and it's multifaceted. And many of these other not-for-profits that the Community Foundation is able to support, they help preventative measures. And, they're the precursor to other health if we can prevent them and assist them. By building a better, more inclusive community, we ensure the whole community is healthier.
I know a big part of the hospital foundation, at least the sort of visible part of it that was a big part for you, was, of course, fundraising. We had the variety of events that go on through the year. And I could be 100% wrong about this with the Community Foundation, but that seems to be part of it, of course, because you're always fundraising, but it's sort of different at the foundation, is it not, from what you have seen so far?
Yes, it is very different, Dub. We are generally after larger single donations to distribute, but we are expanding our fundraising capabilities. People can leave legacy gifts. Legacy gifts are often those gifts in your will, bequests, gifts of shares, and then we'll redistribute them to various charities throughout the community.
And is that something that, and I do want to say, you've only been on the job for 2 weeks, so if you don't know, that's okay. We're still brand new. But these other nonprofits in the community sort of apply for this, right? Or is there a relationship where some of it's sort of automatic, or is it really depending on what everyone needs and if they ask for it?
We have granting cycles,
Okay,
and so the community not-for-profits will apply through the granting cycles.
I see. And then you decide, or the board kind of decides what we can give or what we can offer.
Yeah, we have a granting committee, and primarily it's comprised of board members right now, but we are inviting community members to participate in the granting community. That allows us a broader input, and we invite people to look us up, and if you're interested in being part of the organization, we would love to invite you to our granting committee.
Okay. Well, we'll make sure we get back to that at the end, just for how people can get in touch and whatnot. I want to look back a bit at your time with the foundation, and even before that, because I think you worked in finance kind of before even, you got to the foundation. What set you up from what kind of experiences and things did you learn from being at the hospital foundation that you think are going to really help you in this role now?
Both the always you need a strong background in finances. That's always important to run an organization, as well as understanding donors, what motivates donors, and what motivates the community and where their heart lies.
But as you say, it's a little different in what I guess my question then would be, do you have relationships with donors, but you maybe approach them differently and sort of asking them to help fund the foundation.
That is correct. The North Peace Community Foundation doesn't have any events, so we don't have radiothons or galas, so it is a different approach.
Okay. And turning back to the hospital foundation for one more second, and I have to ask you about this because we worked a lot over the past few years. What do you think you value most about your time there? What's a big memory for you about some of the work you did?
I would have to say the donors and people's generosity is outstanding, and the people who showed up year after year. And again, time and time again, you'd be confronted with, don't judge a book by its cover. Some of your donors that were the most generous are the people you'd least expect. And so it was a really amazing experience to learn from people of who they are and understanding what drives them and motivates them.
Wonderful. All right. Well, I said we'd make sure we got back to this at the end. If someone wants to help out, if someone's listening, they'd like to make a contribution, however that can work, how do they get in touch with you? What's kind of the best way to start setting that up?
Go to our website and North Peace Community Foundation, and there is a contact us form if you want to reach out directly to us, or you can sign up for our newsletter, and I think you have to scroll to the bottom of the first page to get to the newsletter sign up.
Gotcha.
And that way you'll stay informed of what we're doing as well. We are on social media, both LinkedIn and Facebook.
Wonderful. And is the granting cycle started already for kind of next year, or is that kind of an ongoing thing? If someone's listening, like, oh, I didn't know about the foundation.
No, it's not ongoing. There's a spring granting cycle and a fall granting cycle,
Gotcha, okay.
And those dates have yet to be confirmed, but they will be confirmed shortly.
All right.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, Kelly, thank you so much for taking a few minutes to chat with us, and good luck in your new role. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Dub. Thank you for having me here.
You're very welcome. That's Kelly Ambo, the new Executive Director of the North Peace Community Foundation. We'll be right back to talk with Romeo Makabuhe, I think I said that name wrong, on his new website tracking ER closures in the Northeast in just a minute on This Week in the Peace.
Are your neighbors talking about property values? Wondering what your home is worth? If you own property in BC, your 2026 property assessment information is available online. Assessments are based on market value as of July 1st, 2025. Head to bcassessment.ca to search properties, compare values, and get answers about your assessment. If something doesn't look right, contact us before February 2nd. BC Assessment. We value BC.
Let's talk about consignment at Lakeside Thrift and Consignment. Get some extra cash for your unwanted items, such as men's and women's clothing, collectibles, and more. Stop by Lakeside Thrift and Consignment today, just off the highway beside Canada Post in Charlie Lake.
Here in northern BC, we get a lot of snow, and the City of Fort St. John wants to make sure the roads are clear and safe all winter long. They remind you to keep snow from your driveway on your property, not on the road. Also, there is a new neighborhood snow clearing schedule to ensure fairness and predictability, and there is no parking on Category 5 roads on your snow clearing day. To find your schedule or sign up for reminders, download the WasteWise app or visit fortstjohn.ca/winter.
Committed to their people, to exceptional service, and to the environment. That's what you can expect from Trican Well Service. As a leader in energy service and the largest pressure pumping service company in Canada, to learn more, visit tricanwellservice.ca.
This is it, Huskies fans. The regular season is going out with a bang. On January 30th, join us for the final home game of the year. It's Moose Media Night, and we are pulling out all the stops. We're talking giveaways worth thousands of dollars, including tickets to Energetic County Fair and weekend passes to Big Valley Jamboree. You do not want to miss your chance to win big. Doors open at 7 p.m., puck drops at 8. Be loud, be proud, and we'll see you at Moose Media Night. You can watch this show live on Facebook, catch the replays at energeticcity.ca, or be part of the show by texting your thoughts to the Fort City Chrysler line at 250-787-2222.
Welcome back to the show. I'm Caitlin Coombs. Northeast BC has experienced multiple emergency room closures every month for years. Currently, Northern Health posts notifications about them in Facebook pages, with each of the 5 emergency rooms and hospitals getting their own page. Romeo Maccabehe in Dawson Creek has decided to put all of this information in one place, a website called iseropen. This week, he joined us to share more about his work. Why don't we start? Can you just tell me a little bit about yourself, what you do on the daily, kind of how the background of what led you to this?
Okay, thanks for having me. My name is Romeo Maccabehe. So this idea came out after speaking with my pregnant friend. So she raised important concerns about not knowing where to find certain information. And she said she's not always on Facebook. And then later in that conversation, she said, what about those visitors who are not privy to these Facebook groups? How will they know if an emergency room is open or not? Because when you look, for example, you search operating room, emergency room, and then you name the hospital in Google, you will only find like the Northern Health website, but it does not actually say whether it's open or not, whether diversion is active or inactive. Mm-hmm. So that's where the idea came to my mind, and it was after that conversation, it troubled me. Like I couldn't stop thinking about it. Like, yeah, that's a real concern, and that's really dangerous for anyone to not have this information. So during the holiday, I just started drafting my plan, like a technical document, like how I will build this, the technology stack that I would use, and then one weekend I just started coding, and that's how the website is born.
Amazing. And I mean, you're correct. We see it all the time. If you don't see it on Facebook, the emergency rooms, they put up a piece of paper, and past couple of years there have been reports of people showing up needing services, and they see a little notice in the board going, oh, we're closed, sorry. And so of course it makes sense that if not everyone in the community has Facebook, how can we expect tourists or people who are traveling through to know that if they're going up the highway, they need to be in 5 or 6 different Facebook groups just to know if they're going to need emergency room services?
That's right.
Mm-hmm. You talked about coding. How are you operating it? What goes into it? I imagine, I don't run any websites, I can only imagine that it takes a little bit to get it up, and then kind of what does it really take to run it on the daily?
On the operations side, it's really low maintenance. I'm using Cloudflare to host the website, and we call it Cloudflare Workers to keep the site updated with what's in the database. I don't know how to explain that in simple terms, but I'm basically just using whatever is in Cloudflare. And the website is built out of many open source libraries, so I did not pay for them. I think the only expense that I made is the domain, so that's the only expense that I did. Um, so the page has three external pages, and then we have sub pages like for support about us. But the main pages are just the three main pages. So the home page, and then the hospital page, and then if you would like to report an incident, or if you want to submit anything to correct whatever's inaccurate on the website. So those are the three main pages. And then internally, I have an admin page where I post my incidents, and how I also manage the permissions. So, I mean, there's no one really using the website other than me. I mean, the admin side, but I just prepared that um, feature just in case I get volunteers later on.
Okay. And how how do you know when ERs are open? Is this just you keeping an eye on these Facebook pages and updating it alongside reports that you get, or is it kind of doing it automatically? What is talked about that side?
Okay, so to get those information, I go to those Facebook groups manually. So I check them at least twice a day, like in the morning and in the evening, just to see. Because normally that's the time that they announce these diversions. So I just check them, and then I post an incident if I find one. I thought of not that I thought of, but I asked Northern Health if they would like to collaborate in maintaining this website. So they said they are planning internally, and they are thinking, or maybe in the process of building one that functions the same way as my website. So that's very reassuring. But they don't have I would say, kind of like an RSS feed that I could automatically fetch. And I thought of scraping the content from the Facebook groups, but then I read the terms of service of Facebook. It's not allowed. So I have to do it manually until Northern Health figure things out.
Okay. And thank you for stepping in to fill that gap. In the meantime, this is something that we've been dealing with for several years, and it's great to see local residents finding solutions, even in situations like this where it's arguable whether we should have to or not. Thank you very much for doing this, and I'm sure everyone appreciates it.
You're welcome.
You mentioned you were looking for volunteers or assistance from people. That's also on your website. Maybe expand on that a little bit. What would volunteers do? What could people provide for assistance? What are you kind of looking for with people?
Basically, just extra eyes on those Facebook groups, extra eyes on Northern Health's pages, because I'm not always on Facebook. My social media activity is very low, like little to non-existent. The only time I go to social media is to buy or sell something on in the marketplace, or check things like this. So if there are more eyes in those Facebook groups, that would be helpful for me. And if they can notify me, like, hey, they announced this, so we can be more. I would say we will be faster when it comes to posting incidents on the website.
And you work as well, so I mean, you've got a lot of stuff on your time. So this is something that you're committing some of your personal time to, I imagine.
Yes, that's correct. I work full time.
Okay. What do you see as the future of this project? I know you mentioned that you left some stuff in maybe for the future with different permissions, but what do you kind of see in the long term with this, with Is ER Open?
It depends on the direction of Northern Health. Like if they think they can come up with a similar website like within the year, then there's no point of adding more features. Like it can just stay as it is. But gauging from how things work in the government, um, let's say they say like, okay, it's not happening this year or the year after. That means I have opportunities to expand the features. I was thinking I would put an option for people to actually say their let's say, but post their experiences. Like for example, I went to the ER and it took me 4 hours to be going through all the triaging process and getting help. So that way we can put average waiting time in those operating. I keep saying operating, but emergency rooms. We can that because that's going to be helpful. Like for example, if you have this emergency and you don't want to wait 4 hours if it's urgent. I know they have certain ways of triaging. If it's like super severe, I know they will put the person right away, but some people, they would like a shorter waiting time regardless. So those are just some features that I could think of that will be helpful, but I'll probably just keep the features very lean just to stick to its purpose of just informing whether ER is open or not, and then those extra features will just be add on just to help them make better decisions.
Okay. And what do you feel about, like, do you think that this website will kind of push Northern Health to act a little quicker? Do you think that creating iseropen has had any impact on that, or no?
I'm not actually sure because they did not give me any hint about that. But if it does, if it does help them at least get that, healthy pressure of making these information available to the public in a centralized manner, that's a win for the community. And I don't intend to be, to make war with Northern Health or something like that. I just built this out of love because, I love people. My friends have kids. I have kids. My coworkers have kids. So many kids, and I feel for them. And those with older people in their house, like my wife she's hypertensive. Especially during her pregnancy, we're always worried because when she gets very high blood pressure, we have to go to the ER, and during pregnancy that was really scary for us. So I know people are in the same spot, and that's where I'm coming from. I'm not blaming them or criticizing them in any way. And yeah, they gave us very good treatment when my wife gave birth to our third child, so I'm thankful to them. But I just love people, and as a Christian, God says we have to love our neighbors as we love ourselves. So if I want to be treated that way, I want this information for myself. I want this information for other people too.
Well, absolutely. And thank you so much for doing this, your time that you've put into this, and thank you for talking with us today.
Thank you, Kathleen. I appreciate your having me here. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you. That was Romeo McCabuhay. Big thanks to Kelly Ambo for joining us today, and thank you for tuning in.
You can listen to the show again by checking out the podcast at energeticcity.ca/podcast. We store this and future episodes there as we make them, and past episodes if you'd like to check them out. Make sure you make some time for our other locally produced award-winning podcasts before the piece as well. That's our show. I'm Dub Craig.
And I'm Caitlin Coombs. We'll see you next time.
Join us again next Friday morning at 10 for another edition of This Week in the Peace, your weekly talk show dedicated to the people, events, and news of BC's Peace region. Or you can listen to this podcast again at Energetic